Hello everyone, welcome to Fireside Chat. I'm delighted to have Kamal Dutta, MD of Skillsoft India, for this rapid and engaging session on leadership evolution in the new normal. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Dutta. Today, leaders need to deal with unprecedented changes and an unpredictable and challenging future. In such a world, leadership will play a bigger role than ever. Leaders will have to create and show the way forward amid transitions, disruptions, chaos, and ambiguity. In fact, in the new normal, leaders had to deal with challenges significantly different from what their predecessors have to look at. So, my first question to you, Mr. Datta, is how do you see the leadership skills evolve in a world more digital than ever before?
Yeah, thanks, Apeksha. Indeed, it's a very new normal. It's a different world with different perspectives, and leaders don't have the same playbook to apply which their predecessors had. Given that this is a new world and which requires new digital skills, but more importantly, it requires new skills. So, this is also an opportunity. While it's challenging, it's an opportunity to really shape culture and create a bigger vision for breakthrough growth in your organization. Now, if you lead with that, and given the digital, one of the most obvious thing is how do you lead with innovation? How do you accelerate innovation in your organization? How do you build agile processes? How do you adopt most of the technology that are there around automation and driving efficiencies and focus on how you can improve customer experience. Now, all this has been talked about a lot. So let me focus on a few things which we have not talked about a lot. So, given that there is disruption and change, one of the key aspects is to lead through the challenge of change and disruption. What you need is basically, in these times specifically, you need an emotionally intelligent leader, okay, who has the right level of decision making and decisiveness, I would say, and judgment, but who is also having cognitive flexibility along with critical thinking. So you need some level of strategic thinking and cognitive flexibility. You need to embrace one of the key areas nowadays is while you are doing all of this, you need to embrace diversity in your leadership. Your judgment priority and setting those priority and goals for the organization is equally important because you can't do everything at this time. And there again, deciding on which are your top priorities are critical to leadership success. Finally, I would say that you need leaders need to lead with mindfulness, integrity, follow the organizational values, and with ethics. But you can't know everything by yourself. So I think one of the talent that leaders also need to build is how do they network and coordinate with their peers and really learn and create a group where they can have common goals and visions and how do they develop and adopt in this marketplace. Finally, we are in a virtual world, as you know, so we need virtual presence. The leader needs to have virtual presence and virtual team management. So those are critical as well.
Yeah, so, all this is interesting, Mr. Datta, but I guess most of us believe that learners, leaders especially, do not like to learn online as much. So, how do you ensure retention and engagement in an e-learning environment, in such an environment?
Yes, of course. I mean, let me talk first about relevance because you are right. Leaders don't learn like to learn online. So what we try to do is, given the fact that online is the only option now, but the fact is that we are trying to use three things. One is relevance of the content, right? That you cannot ever underscore the relevance of good content, relevant content, beautifully made, etc., etc. So content is the king. But more than that, I think from a relevance point of view, I would like to think we are using technologies today like natural language parsing, AI-based recommendation engines, adaptive algorithms for multimodal learning, machine learning, for example. We are talking about cloud labs and assessment services that we are providing. We are talking about virtual reality and scenario based simulations. So, all of those things are really about ensuring that not only the content is relevant, but is very compelling and engaging. But there is a science behind it. And let me take a minute to explain the science. When you build scenarios and do storytelling, there is a frontal cortex in our brain that gets activated. You can see that with the gamma radiation that it produces. Now, this activation shows that when you tell people stories, when you tell people narratives which is based on scenarios, they are more adaptable to influence their behavior and their social behavior and decision making and their persuasiveness, etc. So if you use those signs, and we are using those signs in our curriculum as well as content development. And finally, I think in today's world we are using a lot of technology. I was talking about things like machine learning and virtual reality, but the fact is we are doing AI-based curation based on your assessment of where your strengths and weaknesses are. We are trying to ensure that we can take that noise out and give you the signals which you need in order to be successful. We are using blockchain technologies for sharing. We are looking at collaborative mentoring and coaching. So there is a whole lot of science, technology, and things that we are doing to ensure that leaders get the outcome that they need.
Sure, Mr. Datta. So on that note, if you can, shift to our next question, which is on obviously the leadership priorities. So what are the top leadership priorities that you are seeing today, as we are approaching the unlock times and all in the Indian enterprises specifically, and how are you helping them to address that? So to name a few, like return to workplace, diversity and inclusion, environment and sustainability. So how are you addressing all these issues?
Yeah, so what we are doing is for all our customers, I think I have spoken to over 100 leaders in the last couple of months. And I think the topmost priority that leaders have today is to ensure that their work people are safe, first of all, and they slowly start coming back to office and work environments. Now, in order to do that, what we have done is we have tied up with Mayo Clinic and come out with a curated package of leading in this post-pandemic workplace, which includes employee handbook of the safety and the things that they need to do to ensure their own safety as well as organizational safety and the safety of their peers and people who are working with them. There is also a leader handbook that we have created, which also allows leaders to look into what are the critical items, get their employees safely back into the office. Now that's one part of it. We are also seeing recently in US the incidents around diversity and George Floyd and so on and so forth. So we are very conscious and we have curated a package around diversity, which allows weighing the risk and opportunities, etc., around diversity, and more importantly, how organizations can adopt diversity and include that in every topic and discussion. Finally, there has been a lot of talk about the planet and the green and sustainable. So we are also working and creating contents, which is again being given to every customer of ours around weighing the risk and opportunities of implementing a sustainable initiative, how to build a strategic commitment towards the environment and sustainability. Second, so this is something that we are doing. Finally, I think leaders are concerned about the safety, cyber safety of the employees. Because there's so many cyber attacks now. Last week there was this Twitter attack, which everybody talked about. So I think if you look at it, today we are helping organizations across the globe with more than 500 plus risk assessment, which includes data protection, cyber protection, etc. And these trainings are done more in the form of compliance training for the employees, which can help the organization mitigate some of these threats. So those are the quick things that we are doing around both compliance, security, environment, as well as COVID and return to workplace, which we believe are some of the top priorities today for CEO.
Sure. Sure, Mr. Datta. Thank you, Mr. Datta. This was a rather riveting session and a rapid one also. I'm sure our audience, especially the leaders, has a lot of insights to take from this session. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Datta, for this.
Thank you.